Call it a boot, call it a trunk, call it what you like. It's this bit at the back that makes a sedan a sedan. One of three distinct compartments. One for the engine, one for people, and one for stuff. Once dominant in the Australian new car market, sedans are now more of a niche option favoured by traditionalists who aren't even on the hatchback bandwagon, let alone the SUV train. But Mazda is a sedan true believer, offering three-box versions of each of its hatchback lines. The city-sized Mazda 2 and this car, the recently arrived 4th generation Mazda 3. It swims in a small but turbulent pool of similarly sized sedans like the Honda Civic, Hyundai Elantra, Kia Cerato, Skoda Octavia, Subaru Impreza and Toyota Corolla. But before we take a closer look, remember you can read my full written review at carsguide.com.au. And if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit subscribe so you can stay on top of all our latest videos. Matching the hatchback from the A-pillar forward, the sedan continues the new 3's minimalist design approach, with its expression dominated by this large grille and menacingly focused LED headlights either side. While the hatch has divided opinion with its broad C-pillar and relatively small rear window, the sedan takes a more traditional approach while retaining this slimline twin-ring taillight treatment. Not as adventurous, but nicely balanced and well proportioned. As with the hatch, the 3 sedan offers a choice of 2 4-cylinder petrol engines driving the front wheels only, the 2-litre G20 and more powerful 2.5-litre G25. And that's across 5 model grades with prices stretching from just under $25,000 to almost $37,000 before on-road costs. Amazingly, a 6-speed manual gearbox is standard on all models, with a 6-speed auto adding $1,000 to the price tag. That's dollar for dollar the same price as the hatch, and the model we're focusing on today is the G20 Touring with 6-speed auto. The sedan is fractionally taller than the hatch, but they're the same width and not surprisingly sit on the same wheelbase. The trick is that the sedan's body is actually 20 centimetres longer than the hatch's. So let's cut to the chase. What does that mean in practical terms? Which means looking to the boot or trunk, because that's kind of why we're here after all. And the short story is it's a whole lot better than the hatches. You're talking an extra 149 litres of cargo space, which means you've got 35% more room in here. But, I hear you say, the big plus with a hatch is its flexibility. No hard panel behind the rear seats means you can open the load space right up. So just to see what's what, I'm going to load our 3-piece hard suitcase set into here. And sure enough, there's plenty of room. All 3 swallowed without a problem, with extra space in here and plenty here. The only thing to think about is this distance, the aperture to the load space. With a hatch, you've got all of that here. That's the distance you need to consider. But really, is this extra length in the body all about suitcases? What about people? Let's get inside and have a look. So, we're in the back, and this driver's seat is set for my 183 centimetre position. And I've got to say, there's a lot of legroom, a lot of knee room, plenty of room for my feet, and headroom's not too bad either. I think it's a little bit better than the hatch. In terms of storage, you've got bins with room for bottles in the door. There's a single pocket on the back of the passenger seat, a fold-down armrest with a couple of cup holders, and one nice feature in this touring grade is adjustable air vents for rear seat passengers as well. In the front, it's a case of hatchback deja vu with the same sleek design and premium feel, thanks in no small part to this enormous 8.8-inch widescreen media screen. There's also a 7-inch screen in the centre of the instrument binnacle, and leather is standard on this touring grade, which is a good look and feel. In terms of practicality, there's a bin here between the seats with a 12 volt and USB outlet in there, a couple of cup holders here in the console with a small storage bin in front of it, big pockets in the doors with space for bottles, and a decent sized glove box over here as well. All in all, it not only looks good, but it's pretty practical as well. Although the 3 remains a key part of its model mix, Mazda Australia acknowledges small car sales are being swamped by an SUV wave and has made a conscious decision to push the small hatch and sedan further upmarket. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard and controllable through the MZD Connect rotary dial. All beautifully executed with impressive attention to detail. So that's all fine, and we know the Mazda 3 hatch delivers in terms of comfort and refinement and dynamic ability. Question is, has anything been lost in the sedan translation? So first of all, in terms of acceleration, you could expect a 0 to 100 km/h number of about 10 seconds, which isn't exactly blazing along, but it's not sluggish either. You've got peak torque of 200 Newton meters coming in at 4,000 RPM. Ideally, you'd like that to be a little lower, but it's a naturally aspirated engine. We've all been spoiled by turbos, and it's not a big deal. There's plenty of performance on tap. We're not in the sports car market here, and this car certainly gets the job done. The other thing worth calling out is the 6-speed auto transmission. It's beautifully smooth and a great match for that engine. I think the best thing you can say about it is that you soon forget it's there. But there is a sports setting that will pick the ratios up a little more quickly if you'd like a bit more urgency. So then I want to talk about ride comfort. This 4th generation Mazda 3 has a McPherson strut front suspension and torsion beam at the rear, which might sound like a retrograde step because the prior model had multi-links at the back. But Mazda's logic there is that there are fewer moving parts with a torsion bar and you get less chance for vibration. And yes, this car is overall very comfortable. I've got to say though that this sedan feels a little firmer in the suspension than the hatch. I'm not sure quite why. It's running on 18-inch alloy rims as standard, and they're shod with Bridgestone Turanza rubber. It's just these little imperfections, potholes, bumps and ripples, just feeling those a little more than the hatch. Several things do carry over directly from the hatch, not least of which is the steering. It's nicely weighted, the car points really well, and you get a good kind of road feel back through the wheel. As well as that, the brakes, they're nice and progressive, firm but nice and progressive. And if you're worried about visibility in the hatch, that's the thing with that broad C-pillar, potentially limiting your over-the-shoulder vision both sides. No such concerns here. A much more conventional C-pillar treatment means that your vision over both shoulders is pretty clear. Under the heading of Miscellaneous Thoughts, it's worth pointing out that the front seats in this car, every bit as comfortable as the hatch. They really are very good, and we've been in them for long periods during this week. Also, fuel economy. That's something that Mazda is always striving for, efficiency in terms of its SkyActiv technology, wringing the last bit of efficiency it can out of these naturally aspirated engines. So they claim 6.3 litres per 100 kilometres for the combined cycle, and during our 7 days and about 300 kilometres worth of city and suburban and freeway driving, we've been in the 9s up to 10.0 litres per 100 k's, so not quite there, but not a million miles away either. The Mazda 3 sedan offers an interesting alternative to its funkier hatchback sibling. For some, it's the more attractive design, with a more refined personality. It's beautifully built and well equipped. In fact, standard safety tech is a category benchmark. And despite some niggles on ride comfort, this new 3 is the cream of the small sedan crop. Ja matane. And if you want to know more, You can read the full review at carsguide.com.au, and if you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe.